All right, I'm showing 5:30, so we'll go ahead and convene the Wednesday, January 24th Planning Commission meeting. Ms. Ruth, will you call roll?
Yes, Chairman. Chairman Miller,
Here?
Vice Chairman York. Here. Commissioner Mendel.
Here.
Commissioner Salazar Garza. Here. Commissioner Munoz.
Here.
Commissioner Matagi.
Here.
Commissioner Lerma is absent. Commissioner Hedrick. Here. And Commissioner Button. Here. We have a quorum to conduct the meeting.
Thank you. Moving on to public comment, Ms. Ruth, could you read the rules of decorum?
Thank you, Chairman. Citizens will be allowed to attend and make public comments in person at City Planning Commission meetings. The public is invited to speak on any agenda item and any other items that pertain to the Planning Commission. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If you choose to speak during this period, you will not be allowed to speak again when the specific item is being considered in order of the agenda.
All right, thank you. Would anybody like to speak on any item not specifically on the agenda tonight? I see none, so we'll go ahead and close the public comment and move on to the approval of absences.
I move that we approve the absences of Chairman Miller, Vice Chairman York. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to the approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the meeting on January 10th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to consent public hearing items A and B, and we have a couple of abstentions. So I think we'll go ahead, if you would read in items 2, 4, and let's see, 2, 4, and 6. And we'll vote on that, and then we've got Commissioner York abstaining from item number 3 and Commissioner Hedrick abstaining from item number 5.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Mark Orozco, Planner 3 with Development Services. I'm going to be reading consent items A and B, plats, and B zoning. Starting off with plats, I have item 2, Zali District preliminary plat of 34.65 acres located at 3642 Saratoga Boulevard. Skipping over to item 4, Lakeview Acres, Block 1, Lots 3A and 3B, replat of 2.99 acres located south of Williams Drive and west of Rockville Road. Continuing with consent item B, zoning. It is a rezoning for Sunriser Park LLC at or near 922 West Lakeside Drive. They are rezoning from the RS6 Single Family 6 District to the RM2 Multifamily District. With the exception to, or actually the conditional plat was not read. So all plats are meeting the TRC comments and the Texas Local Government Code. The rezoning staff recommends approval as well of the consent items. And so questions for staff can be answered at this time for those items.
Okay, any commissioners have any questions for staff on items 2, 4, or 6? Commissioner Salazar Garza.
Yeah, on item number 6, I was just curious to know, there's going to be 35 units. They're going to be the steel shipping containers. And that's the units that are going to be built?
Yes, ma'am, that's
Okay,
correct.
so how big are those units?
If I recall correctly, they're right around 400 square feet, maybe a little bit larger. Yes, so they're going to be in a duplex style with a patio or kind of shared deck connecting each one, or in sets of 2.
And what's the, I don't have it here, but what's the acreage? How much?
The total,
What's the lot size?
the total acre, 1.53 acres for the whole site.
Wow. Okay, I was just curious to see what that was. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And has Ben reviewed that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's outside of the ACUs. It's in the MCAOD when it comes to lighting, but not for land use.
Okay, so he's cool?
All set?
All right, thank you. Okay, any other questions for staff? All right, I'll go ahead. Oh, sorry, didn't see you, Brian.
Item 2, is that also in the MCAOD?
Yes, sir. A portion of it is in the military overlay. It is noted on the plat. When it comes to building permit, those properties that are inside the overlay will, of course, have those restrictions placed upon them. There are about 4 parcels that are part of the plat that are outside in which the developer is looking at options, restaurants, doctor's offices, things that are allowed outside of ACUs, but they'll still have to abide by the lighting restrictions that, since it's all over MCAOD.
Gotcha. Ben also said he's okay with it as well.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for staff? I see none. I'll go ahead and open up public comment for items 2, 4, and 6. Would anybody like to speak on items 2, 4, or 6? Mark Orozco. No, just kidding. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public comment, and if there aren't any other questions for staff, entertain a motion for items 2, 4, and 6.
I'll make a motion to pass items 2, 4, and 6 as presented by staff.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to item number 3. Hit the road, Michael.
Item number 3, under plats. Plaza Michoacana, Block 1, Lot 1 and 2 is the final plat of 1.348 acres located at south of I-37 and north of Leopard Street. The plat is meeting the TRC comments and the Texas Local Government Code. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for staff on item number 3? I see none. I'll open up public comment for item number 3. Would anybody like to speak on item number 3? I see none. Close public comment. Entertain a motion.
I move that we approve item number 3 as presented by staff.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Go trade places. Moving on to item number 5.
Item number 5, Haven Road subdivision. It's a preliminary plat of 1.57.5 acres located at Haven Drive and Warrior Road. This is a conditional approval plat. Staff can answer questions at this time.
Commissioners, any questions for staff on item number 5? I see none. I'll open up the public comment for item number 5. Nobody's here. Close the public comment for item number 5 and entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve item 5 as presented.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. All right. I've been informed that item number 7 has been pulled from the agenda. So moving on to item number, public hearing, item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Andrew Demas with Development Services. Tonight, what I have very quickly for you is the text amendments we have previously gone over. If you'd like, I can do a quick refresher on the PowerPoint, kind of touch base again. I know it's been probably about a month since you've seen this, but in that time before the holidays, we've distributed to the DS Tag Group. Fortunately, no pushback there. And what this PowerPoint is about is the text amendments that were generated for the UDC by actions of the state legislature. Of course, every 2 years, we have fun. We get to sit on pins and needles and find out what the state will change that affects every municipality. But part of those changes from Senate Bill 929 is all about notifying non-conforming uses. So if the city ever comes in and, let's say, removes a use, and we all know we're going to encounter that with upcoming UDC text amendments. So let's say, for instance, we take out multifamily from the office district, just as an example. Then we must notify every multifamily owner and tenant that exists in the office zoning today. And we must use this specific language that you see on the screen. The state went as far as telling us exactly how many days it must be sent out. Additionally, If a person comes in and rezones their property, and let's say they were multifamily zoning and they're now going to office zoning, we must notify them that their existing use is now becoming a nonconformity. Doesn't mean they have to tear it down, doesn't mean they have to stop our operations today. It just means they're being duly informed in writing that they are either creating a nonconformity for themselves, or we as a city are creating a nonconformity by removing a use from a specific zoning district. So that's part of that code change for section 929, I'm sorry, by Senate Bill 929, where it impacts the UDC is section 3173. Don't have to memorize that, but this is the specific section of the UDC that governs how notices are mailed out, and we're adding the language right from that Senate bill directly into the code. And again, this is just little language that says you must be compliant with section 211.006 of the Texas Local Government Code. It reminds all of us planners when we're drafting our notices, this is what we must follow. The other bill that was passed was House Bill 3699. This is all about, and I know it's a lot of language, this is all about creating the list of what determines a plat complete. Now, all of you know the state enacted back in 2019 the infamous shot clock, which talks about if a plat application comes in, we have 30 days to get that plat to Planning Commission unless the applicant themselves says, I'll take an alternative path, I want some back and forth discussion, I'm not going to hold you, city, to absolutely 30 days, no question. The reason for that is when you submit a 30-day what we call statutory plat, that plat must practically be perfect with no red lines, no potential changes to get to Planning Commission. Otherwise, it could turn into a denial, and we don't want that. We want to set people up for success. We want to have those discussions, those negotiations before we bring practically a perfect product to you to approve. So part of that process, that shot clock, means now in the 2021 version of when the state met, 2023, we must list specifically what requires or what determines a plat to be quote unquote complete. So we've had to create a pretty long list, and I have that here in the folder, and it's in your packet, but as you can see, it's about 3 pages long, and it states the very long version of what must be turned in to be a final plat, and you can see these little check boxes are here. All of these things for finals, for prelims, for master prelims, for vacating, for every plat that comes across our board, what must be turned in. Now, this is not a set in stone. Yes, it's being adopted into code, but when I say set in stone is many times with zoning cases, an applicant may be missing what we call disclosure of interest or may not have a fully fleshed out land use statement. Do we hold them to the fire and say, you will not move forward until this is fixed? No, we try to use some degree of common sense to say, we know it's going to get cleaned up. We'll work with you as the applicant. We'll get you to Planning Commission on your road to council, and we can clean up the paperwork on the back end. Likewise, some of these items, when it comes to deeds and when it comes to, let's say, peak hour trip forms, if you're plotting a property for the purpose of a cell tower, obviously you're not going to have a peak hour trip form because there are no trips, there is no occupancy. So yes, on paper it's required, but when we as staff have to determine quote unquote completeness, we're not going to hold you to that letter of the code. We're going to apply that degree of common sense. But the catch is the state says, city, you must list it because you can't come back later and say, by the way, you need a peak hour trip form for a multifamily platting. Well, unless it's on the list, I can't stop the plat from moving forward or getting that extra information to bring to you as the Planning Commission unless I have it on the list. So that second ordinance that we've been working on is taking the language from the state and saying we must have the majority of these items to declare you complete, which therefore starts the shot clock. So everything works into that shot clock pattern to get you here in 30 days. Now, again, it doesn't hold you to 30 days. If the applicant now says, hey, again, I want the back and forth discussion with the city, so I'm not going to hold the city to 30. I'll take it in 30-day increments, so I'll start off with 60. They absolutely can do that, and that's one of the reasons the item was pulled tonight. They went ahead and opted to have another 30 days of discussion before this plat comes back to you. We want to resolve issues instead of having the dirty laundry, as Al likes to say, in front of the board. But that is, in essence, the two quick state mandated UDC text amendments that we've put together. Of course, it's a lot of a read, but we're recommending approval. If you have questions, comments, be more than happy to address them. I want to keep this conversational, but I know it's a lot. I open it to y'all.
The change from the assistant city manager to the director of development services, that was just an amendment for convenience for you guys?
I'll tell you the backstory behind that. Throughout the UDC, it is littered with a reference to Steve as our ACM. When the UDC was written back in 2010, we did not have a department director. It was an ACM to 2 assistant directors, and there was not that stopgap. As the years have changed and the organization itself has changed, that correction never happened in the UDC. So the comments and questions that were going to the ACM were automatically being delegated to the director. Since we're going to go through the rewrite anyway, we just saw an opportunity for housekeeping. And as part of our UDC tune-up, as I like to call it, that's going to be starting this year, all of those little typos and errors of saying ACM versus director are going to be cleaned up and brought to the director level, which is where they should be.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't stop anyone from always appealing a decision up to the ACM level or higher. It just cleans it up in the code.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for staff on item number 8? I see none. I will open up the public comment again. For item number 8, anybody? Priya? Okay. Close public comment, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve item 8.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Director's report.
As you all know, Nina is no longer with us. I have now been tasked with being the interim assistant director for land development. As I slowly drink myself into oblivion, I will be available. But now I'm here to help. We're going to pause hiring anybody for right now. We want to get through some of the stuff that we're working on. Get myself slowly activated back into land development. Obviously, I lean on staff a lot. So if you have anything that you need, please reach out to me. Email's the best way to get a hold of me. But other than that, I'm glad to be back with land development.
All right, thanks, Mike. Good to see you.
And that's it for directors. We'll have some more stuff probably next week.
Okay, so if there's no future agenda items, I will adjourn this meeting.